When we hear the word desert, it is almost certain that what we immediately picture is the stereotype depicted in movies and other forms of popular culture. And as far as the naked eye can see in all directions, no plants except cactus and a place with a total absence of water and an abundance of staring sunlight. While in general, these illustrations are reasonably accurate, but a desert is not merely a patch of arid land. Rather, a desert constitutes a biome, a community of living things connected to a particular type of geography. In this video, we will present about desert ecosystem including its definition, types, characteristics, plants and animals found, the threats, and how we save it.
So next, we will be discussing what is desert ecosystem. So a desert ecosystem is defined as the interactions between organism populations, the climate in which they live, and any other non-living influences on the habitat. So as shown in this video, it is also a setting where all the living and non-living components of a desert interact in a physical environment. So what is desert? Well, of course, we often describe desert as dry, a sandy region of little rainfall, extreme temperatures, and sparse vegetation. It is also one of the Earth's major types of ecosystems, supporting a community of distinctive plants and animals especially adapted to the harsh environment. So since desert environments are so dry, they support only extreme sparse vegetation, wherein trees are usually absent, and under normal climatic conditions, shrubs or herbaceous plants provide only very incomplete ground cover. We also have here the different types of a desert ecosystem, wherein it does not only exist in hot and dry areas of the earth, but we can also find a desert ecosystem in a tropical, arid, and even in extremely cold locations. So here's the first one, which is the hot and dry or subtropical, wherein this type of desert ecosystem have hot and dry climatic conditions through the air, and it has very low annual rainfall, of course. And they are basically found in Central America, South Asia, North America, Africa, and Australia. There are also extreme variations in temperature, and the soil is rough and harsh. But despite the harsh conditions, there are, of course, some animals and plants who thrive in this type of desert ecosystem. For animals, we have the fennec foxes, dung beetles, Bactrian camels, Mexican coyotes, sidewinder snakes, and thorny devil lizards. For plants, we have the salt, buckwheat, and blackbush, rice grass, black sage, cactus, and desert ironwood trees. So an example of this type of desert ecosystem would be the Mojave Desert, which is found in California. Wow! And this is the smallest and driest desert among the 4 American deserts. Well, we also have the famous Sahara Desert, which is of course found in Africa. And this is the largest hot desert in the world and the 3rd largest desert overall, smaller only than the deserts of Antarctica and northern Atlantic. We also have the semi-arid desert ecosystem, or cold winter, wherein it has long arid summers and a small amount of rainfall in the winter, which is also quite similar to the hot and dry desert ecosystem, but the temperature is not as extreme or hot. It has hard rocks, stable ground, less sand dunes. For the animals who live here, there are kangaroo, rats, skunks, lizards, snakes, sandbirds such as the burrowing owl and the California thrasher, jackrabbits, bighorn sheep, bears, bobcats, mountain lions, and insects. For plants, well, of course, we have the creosote bush, bird sage, whitethorn, catclaw, mesquite, brittle bushes, lychums, and jujube, and other plants like the grasses, shrubs, and small trees. So an example of this type of desert would be the Great Basin, which is located in North America, and this is known as the largest desert in North America. It also receive a lot of rain as compared to the normal desert's ecosystem. We also have the Gobi Desert, which is found in Asia, and this is known as the largest desert in Asia and fifth in the world. It is also known for its dunes, mountains, and rare animals such as snow leopards and Bactrian camels. Next is we have the coastal desert ecosystem, which has it has cool winters but warm summers, and they are mostly found near the coastal lines of big water bodies like oceans and seas, and are generally affected by the ocean currents. Winter fogs are common here as well, and they are more hospitable than the other desert ecosystem, and because they have more flora and fauna than the others. For the animals who live here, there are coyotes, badgers, toads, insects, lizards, snakes, and birds such as the horned owls, golden and bald eagles. For plants, we have the saltbush, rice grass, black sage, Chrysanthemum nus, which also include algae, grasses, and plants with spiny leaves. An example of this type of desert would be the Atacama Desert, which is located in Chile, and this desert is the driest place and desert on the earth. We also have the Namib Desert, which is of course found in Africa, and this is the world's oldest desert. So next, we also have the cold desert ecosystem or polar desert, wherein it is cold all year round. It also comprises of abundant rainfall throughout the winters and less in summers, and generally it has chilling winters with snowfall. Summers are short here as well and moderately hot and moist. This type of desert could be found in Greenland, Antarctica, and the Arctic realm. For the animals, we have the Arctic fox, kangaroo rat, moles, jackrabbits, hedgehogs, armadillos, and so on. For plants, we have the grasses. The grasses are the most common vegetation in cold deserts, of course, and which includes the shrubs, algae, and bush. An example of this type of desert would be the Antarctic Desert, which is of course located in Antarctica, and this is the largest desert in the world and the coldest desert as well. We also have the Arctic Polar Desert, which is the second largest desert in the world. Well, of course, if we have the different types of a desert ecosystem, we also have the most common general characteristics of deserts, which is characterized by climatic, topographic, edaphic, and biotic characters. Well, okay, we have the first one, which is the aridity, wherein it is the most common characteristic of all the desert on Earth. It implies the deficiency of moisture or dryness. We also have the velocity of wind, which tends to be very high in a desert ecosystem. We also have a scarcity of water, wherein due to less rainfall, there is a shortage of water, of course. We also have the quality of soil, which is of course dry, rock, thin, sandy, and mainly gray in color, and it has no organic contents like nitrogen and phosphorus, which are essential for the plant growth. We also have human population density, which is very thin. For example, there are 34 persons only to 121 persons per square kilometers. And lastly, of course, we have the drought, which is the main concept of the desert. So that would be all for our discussion.
Now, we proceed to the animals and plants adaptation in the desert. The plants and animals that live in the desert are conditioned to endure extreme temperatures with minimal water. Animals adaptation. Animals survive in deserts by resting in burrows during the heat of the day. Some creatures get the moisture they need from their food, so they don't need to drink much water. Others live along the edges of deserts, where there are more plants and shelters. These animals include rabbits and wild cats. The most common desert plants can have several litters each year, with each litter consisting of at least 6 bodies. Mountain lions are one of the most well-known wildcats in the desert ecosystem. Mountain lions feed on mule deer and other small mammals, using caves to rest and sleep. They are solitary animals, and they can go without water for long periods of time. Insects have developed many adaptations and behaviors to help them survive heat, drought, and predators in the desert. For example, the thick exoskeletons of beetles help minimize water loss, and the cavities beneath their forewings trap moisture. Plants adaptation. Plants often have thin, tough leaves or succulent stems to store water, and some remain dormant during dry times, only coming to life when one of the brief rainstorms comes along. A common drought avoidance strategy adopted by desert plants is an annual life cycle. Annual plants germinate and grow during the rainy season, and when the ground dries up, annuals produce seeds and die. An example of a desert plant which adapts for survival is the cactus plant and other succulents. The cactus has stems that can store water, root stems which collect water from very deep underground, spines, thick and waxy cuticle, and reduced number of stomata which reduce water loss. Rhyatophytes are also plants which are well adapted to arid environments by growing extremely long roots, allowing them to acquire moisture at or near the water table.
What are the threats of ecosystem? Global warming is increasing the incidence of drought, which dries up water holes. Higher temperatures may produce an increasing number of wildfires that alter desert landscapes by eliminating slow-growing trees and shrubs and replacing them with fast-growing grasses. The other major threats to deserts includes overgrazing, woody vegetation clearance, agricultural expansion, water diversion and extraction, soil and water pollution, land conversion due to industrial activities, and associated threats from armed conflicts. How can we save the desert ecosystem? Major desert restoration techniques include planting and seeding, managing water, manipulating soil properties, and providing cover. Controlling non-native species often also is part of restoration and subsequent maintenance management in the restored ecosystem.
It's trivia time!
Did you know that the original meaning of the word desert is an abandoned place? Yes, that's right. One of the interesting facts about the desert ecosystem is that most animals that live there are nocturnal, which means these are the animals that are active during the night and sleep during the day.
Additional fun facts